Your Sunday best was more than clothes. It was armor, the press and curl on Saturday, the sharp suit on Sunday. It wasn't for show, it was survival and dignity. The hats, the suits, they were more than clothing. They were a declaration that I dress for respect and for God. This is One Mic Black History. If you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. But without further ado, let's get started. For our ancestors in bondage, clothing was rationed and rough, but many saved one fabric for worship, weddings, funerals, and Easter. They called it Sunday clothes or sometimes Easter finery. That second set stood for more than fabric. It was a fresh start, a hope for freedom, and a way to hold your head up in a world that told you to bow down. Putting on your best was one of the few choices that you could control. You could say, with your body and your clothes, that I am more than the labor that you have forced upon me. Even back then, English speakers had wrote about Sunday clothes, and our people took that idea and gave it a deeper meaning, saying that clothes are dignity and clothes are prayer. After emancipation, the Black church became the center of community life, spiritually, socially, politically. Black women led the way by setting the standards. They told us to be clean, neat, and modest, not to impress your neighbors, but to make a public statement. They called it the politics of respectability. That meant your public behavior, how we dress, how we carried ourselves, was tied to our own self-respect and our push for equal treatment. Sunday school teachers and missionary circles then taught this code to children. Women wore hats and gloves, men wore suits and hard bottoms, and ushers and missionaries wore white, showing purity and order. They discouraged what they called gaudy colors and conspicuous trimmings because they were fighting ugly stereotypes. The message was simple and strong. God made me. God doesn't make junk. Sunday best was meant to be a testimony before the sermon ever started. So, for Black men, Sunday best was like armor. Think suits and ties and hats and a sharp crease that you could see from across the street, and shoes so polished that you could see yourself in them. The Sunday barbershop ritual mattered. The lineup, the beard, the conversation about life and the week ahead. In the 1940s, young men stepped out in their finest. In the cities, zoot suits exploded with broad shoulders and draped pants. And it was style, swagger, and it claimed space. It also drew heat from the policemen and servicemen. And that said a lot about how powerful dress could be. Wearing your best told the world that my worth is not up for debate. It helped you get respect on the street, at work, and dealing with the police. It said that I should respect better. During this Jim Crow era, looking proper was not just pride, it was protection. White society attempted to paint Black people as unkempt and uncivilized. Sunday best was a daily answer to that lie. On streetcars and trains and courtrooms and shops, appearance was a shield. People learned to move with reserve, to keep a dignified bearing, especially Black women who faced constant insult and threat. It was a painful reality. You shouldn't have to dress a certain way to be treated as human, but many did what they had to stay safe. And there was strategy in this conduct too. On many segregated streetcars, folks followed the rules of polite behavior deliberately, not because they believed in segregation, but to hold the moral high ground. If someone rushed the door or acted rude, you could outlast them with grace. Your clothing and posture spoke louder than words. Acquiring your Sunday best took a little hustle. Local stores often refused service or gave poor treatment, so we had to get creative. Within the Sears catalog, we bought suits and dresses and hats by mail, and layaway plans made quality possible. Black tailors and seamstresses turned cloth into confidence, and beauty salons and barbershops powered this ritual. The press and curl on Saturday night, a fresh cut before service, those spaces were more than businesses. They were cultural carriers and Black meeting rooms. Magazines like Ebony and Jet also shaped the look. Easter issues were events. Photo spreads showed crisp white dresses, bold hats, new suits, smiling families. They didn't just reflect style, they helped set it. Seeing ourselves beautiful and put together on glossy pages mattered. It told us and the world, this is who we are. So if you close your eyes and picture the Sunday best, the first thing you would see is the hat. Church hats were more than fashion. They were crowns, they were joy, status, and a little holy drama. They turned a pew into a runway and a sanctuary into a celebration. Yet, men showed respect by removing their hats when they came indoors, and all of this was part of the code that kept order and honored the moment. And those white gloves on ushers, they wore them for three simple reasons. First, cleanliness. Gloves signal that you care for God's house and the people in it. Second, visibility. In a crowd, a white gloved hand was easy to spot when you needed help. And third, order and service. The glove was a symbol that says, I am here to serve you with dignity. And this fits the larger tradition of dress as respect and dress as testimony. So style always moves, and so does faith. 1940s, zoot suits rattled elders. 1913, churchwomen pushed back against slashed skirts and low necklines. And in 1960s, radical hair and hip garments and natural hair shouted Black pride. Later, some churches said that you need to come as you are. And now you might see sneakers and suits and locks with hats and bright colors that once would have raised eyebrows. These shifts sparks debates across generations, and some fear that we're losing the code meant to set a standard, and others say that your heart is what matters most. Through it all, the same core purpose is kept beating. Show reverence, carry yourself with pride, and reflect the community that you love. Through all of this, Black women kept the tradition strong. So did small businesses, beauticians and barbers and seamstresses and photographers. The look also became a uniform of nonviolent protest. Think Coretta Scott King marching in a tweed suit and pearls, and think Martin Luther King in a tie and coat facing down dogs and batons. Clothes sent a message before the chant started that we're serious, we're disciplined, and we belong in every public space. And designers are taking inspiration from the tradition. You'll see sharp tailoring and big joyful shapes on the runways. And the younger generation is posting "Get ready with me" while I go to church videos on social media, giving an old ritual a new spin. During the 2020 protests, some organizers even asked people to wear their Sunday best to marches to reframe the narrative. So why does any of this still matter? Because people ask, is it the Sunday best just vanity? And it's not. It's heart. It's about reverence and self-respect and community pride. And it marks milestones: Easter, baptism, homegoings, graduations. It connects us to an old story, from bondage to dignity, from Jim Crow to a people who refuse to be defined by hate. Sunday best was not about shaming anyone who can't or won't dress up. It's about choice and meaning. You can honor God in jeans, and you can honor God in silk. Tradition simply says, show up with care and intention, and show up knowing that you're somebody. Here's the truth. When this country pushed us down, our people stood up straighter. When lies told us that we were less than, our people answered with polish and poise and pride. It wasn't an empty show. It was strategy and survival. It was joy. There's a reason Easter hats make us smile. There's a reason that a sharp suit makes a Black man stand taller. And it's not the cloth. It is the story sewn into it. Thank you. I'm your host, Coach Boy, and this has been One My Black History. And this was a story of why we wear our Sunday best. If you like stories like this, you can find more stories like this at onemichistory.com. What was your first memory of your Sunday best and who taught you to wear it? Share the story below in the comments and let me know whether or not you still wear your Sunday best to church. I love you all. Thank you so much. Peace.